Praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day, let's take ourselves to John 5:39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life. And they are they which testify of me, and you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and seek not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There is one that accuse you, even Moses, in whom ye trust. If I had you believe Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Now, you know been talking about show yourself a man. And we still dealing with that, just going about it in a different fashion. Still have a few more attributes, not a few, several, numerous, if you will, attributes to go over. And of course, you know, when Most High willing, everybody's present. We can go over certain things in regards to just certain aspects of maturity, masculinity, femininity, and how people interact with one another, just to be able to have those type of conversations. But for now, 1 Corinthians chapter 14, and we're going to do a little shift, but yet still be in the same stratosphere of where, we want to be. So I'm going to pick this up at 1 Corinthians chapter 14, right? And we'll do verse 10. There are, it may be, so many kinds of voices in the world, and none of them is without signification. Therefore, if I know not the meaning of the voice, I shall be unto him that speak a barbarian, and he that speaks shall be a barbarian unto me. Hold on, listen to what this man say. See, this, and it's going to get into something. This man say that there are many kinds of voices in the world, and none of them is without significance. He say, but if I don't know the meaning of the voice, it's if I'm speaking to a barbarian, and a barbarian is speaking to me. Now, that's a very strong statement, and it's a many different patterns that I could take that in, and I'm going to take it in this fashion. Take this tone. Let's pull this 1 Corinthians, and let's go to John 10. Now, of course, he's talking about speaking in tongues. But see, I want to show y'all a little something, though. John 10 and 25. Because this man says that if you don't know the meaning of the voice, if you don't know the meaning of the voice, it's like you speaking to a barbarian, and a barbarian is talking to you, because y'all not never going to meet in the same place. John 10 and 22. And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of dedication, and it was winter. Yahushua walked in the temple and Solomon's porch. Then came the Yahudim round about him and said unto him, how long dost thou make us to doubt? If thou be the Hamashiach, tell us plainly. Yahushua answered them, I told you, and you believe not. The works that I do in my Abba's name, Shalom, they bear witness of me. But you believe not, because you're not of my sheep, as I said unto you. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. That means they can understand his words. They can understand the language of which he speaks. Now follow me now, because we talking about an understanding be men. So in understanding, you still need to be a man. See, come over here to Proverbs chapter 8 and pick it up at verse 1. And then from Proverbs chapter 8, we're going to go to Isaiah chapter 6. And from Isaiah chapter 6, we're going to go to Matthew chapter 13. See, all type of voices got significance. Matter of fact, I'll adjust that in a moment. The verses, the places we're going to go. Proverbs chapter 8. Does not wisdom cry and understanding put forth her voice? She stand in the top high places by the way, in the places of the paths. She cry at the gates, at the entry of the city, and at the coming in at the doors. Unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of man. O ye simple, understand wisdom. O ye simple, understand wisdom, and ye fools, be ye of an understanding heart. O ye fools, be you of an understanding heart. Hear, for I will speak of excellent things, and the opening of my lips shall be right things. For my mouth shall speak truth, and wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are righteousness, and there is nothing froward or perverse in them. They are plain to him that understand, and right to them that find knowledge. This man say that his words are plain to those that understand. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. These words are plain to them who understand. So let me take you somewhere else. Because remember, you got all types of voices, so they all got significance. They all significant. They all have a significance. How so? Isaiah the 26th chapter, I surmise. Isaiah chapter 26. I pick it up at verse 3 because I just feel like it. Isaiah 26 and 3. Thou will keep him in perfect shalom, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusts in thee. Trust you in Yahuwah forever, for in Yahuwah is everlasting strength. For he bring down them that dwell on high. The lofty city, he lay it low. He lay it low, even to the ground. He bring it even to the dust. I got to keep on it, man. Say, you know, he keep you in perfect shalom if your mind, if your heart is stayed on him. Because if your heart is stayed on him, it's because you trust in him. See, it's a lot of people mounted with you, man. And I just seen a conversation a brother had with somebody. And the first thing the man said to the dude is, are you a Christian? Do you even identify as a Hebrew? Stupidest thing I'd ever seen. Stupidest thing I'd ever seen. Because niggas is worrying about the wrong thing when all the brother was saying is, clearly the doctrine y'all teaching can't be the right doctrine because ain't no power with you. Because you're not teaching what the master taught. You're not teaching what the apostles taught. What is the problem with this? And when I saw it, I said, praise the Lord. I ain't tell you no lie. And it was sad because that was the first thing they wanted to identify him with because he was a Christian. Because all these niggas want to identify as screaming you a Hebrew. What about your garments and all this culture and all that crap don't mean absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. Because I tell you right now, your Savior and your apostle wasn't on that. The apostles, they didn't care. They didn't care about any of that. All that stuff was grossly irrelevant to the grand plan. Now, we're supposed to be men. And he said in understanding, be men. So if we're supposed to have an understanding as a full age adult, pause. We come back to Matthew 26. I want you to come around here to, well, you ain't got to go get it. You ain't got to go get it. You know, Peter said when you a newborn babe, you on milk. Same thing he told that Paul said the same thing in regards to, I got to feed you milk and not meat because you niggas carnal. You can't even take it because you carnal. Shalom, you carnal. So when the writer of the epistle of the Hebrews come back on the back end, and he say, you know, when you become a man, when you become full age, It's because you've been using the word. When you've been using the word, you're talking about using the gospel. Because that was the brother was talking about. And my little homie just went through his congregation on the same stuff. See, the gospel not preached. That's why you ain't got no power. So you don't really want to go to the source of the power, which is Yahuwah Ba'Shem Yahushua. You want to get power from each other. Wrong move. Wrong move. I don't care who get offended. Wrong move. It's only so much power you can get from a man. All of us can unify and be in one united front all we want. But if we not trusting in Yahuwah to have that everlasting strength, it's all for nothing. And at the end of the day, y'all going to put each and every last individual because, hold on, pause. He told you in Jeremiah chapter 17. He told you in the book of Job. He told you in the book of Chronicles. He tells you in the book of Revelation. He tried hard and test the reins to give every man according to his work shall be. See, he going to test you, see where your heart at. Because you can talk that gangster stuff all you want to, but he going to test where your faith at. Because he told you in his Torah, because we love to talk about the Torah, but we love to overlook the parts that deal with this man been talking about faith the whole time, as if that's some Christian element. When your forefather Abraham was justified and declared righteous because he believed and trusted in Yahuwah. But that's another conversation for another time. Maybe tonight, because you got to show yourself an understanding to be a man. If you have the insight, the introspection, if you have the benay, then you supposed to understand and know. And he said, you fools be of an understanding heart. And he said, my words are plain to him that understand. Because you got many voices in the world. They all got significance. He said, but my sheep hear my voice. He said, come on, hold on, Paul. We come back to John 10 real quick, though. See, I felt the brother this afternoon just like I felt my little homie had to go ahead and do it because I've been telling him that for years. Like what I'm talking about right now, I've been on this for years. 10 and 1. I ain't just start doing this here. I thank y'all for it because I see what the gospel is and what the word is and what the word is about and what's supposed to be taught to the people to empower them. We supposed to be putting that, they put their hope is set in Elohim. Our hope ain't being set in Elohim. Yes, he did. I talked to him yesterday. So, you know, you could just text me and call me on that type of shit. You could do that yourself too, you know. But I did talk to him. He told me no. It's like, you know, like, what are we empowering people with? Knowing they Israel? Keep the laws, brother, and you straight. I'm telling you right now. But if you don't know the gospel, I don't care how long you say you've been in this. When that man come up, man, and he resurrect from the dead, and he go to teaching people and telling people he God, most of these broods going for it. Oh, for sure, for sure. Most of these people going for it. They going for it. I appreciate that, man. They going for it. 10 and 1, man. Truly, truly, I say unto you, he that enter not by the door into the sheepfold, but climb up some other way, the same as a thief and a robber. These niggas thieves, man. Because they trying to get in another way. They not trying to get in. They ain't trying to get in through the door. They ain't trying to go through that dialect. That ain't what they trying to do. But he that enter in by the door, the shepherd of the sheep, to him the porter open, and the sheep hear his voice, and he call his own sheep by name and lead them out. And when he put forth his own sheep, he go before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. And a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers. See, right there, see, I don't understand the meaning of your voice. See, right now, I can tell you something right now, man. We can sit down with I sit down with anybody. And I know people like that nigga's harsh or whatever they might feel or think or perceive of who they think I am. I will sit down and kick it with anybody. And I pretty much about anything. Word, praise the Lamb, praise Yah. You know what I'm saying? In the name of Yahushua. Like anything, I don't care. That doesn't bother me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not finna agree with you or get along to get along. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm not going to do. See, I will not compromise. And I will not get down with what you're doing for unity, for peace, if I don't agree with it. Because I will not compromise my core values for a friend, for the nation. See, I will not do that. See, my Savior didn't do that. The prophets who came before him did not do that. Our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, did not do that. They didn't do that. You don't compromise your values for people to thinking you furthering the greater good. That's sucker stuff. Because you're too scared to stand alone as a man and take the strife and contention and persecution that the stake of Mashiach requires for standing alone for what's right. See, let me tell you something. In the book of Matthew, 10th chapter, we all know it. Because the prophet Micah said it first, talking about Hamashiach. And Hamashiach came back through and confirmed it. You know what I'm saying? And he said, a man foes, or be they of his own household. Because don't think that I came to bring a shalom. I came to bring a sword and set a man at variance. So what you think he was doing to bring a sword or set people at variance? He set a standard and he stood on it. So when you when you hear his words and you build your house upon that rock, you're standing on that standard. And that is going to set you apart and cause people to dislike you. You know, the thing is, right, that man saying, beware when all people speak well of you. That does not mean that you're going out of your way to be disliked. When you look at what Yahusha did and how he lived and what he spoke, he called out hypocrisy. He did not compromise. He pointed out sin and he preached the gospel. And these people were offended. They were offended. This man was killed for preaching the gospel. Let's keep it 100. That's what he was killed for. We just read last week, Paul was locked up for preaching the gospel. They stoned the man for preaching the gospel. We just read last week, Peter and them were locked up and whipped for preaching the gospel by the very same people who say that Yahuwah is their Elohim. I ain't talking about people who say they Christian. I ain't talking about people who say they believe the book. I'm talking about people in this day and time who say, I know we're the Hebrews. I know we the Israelites. They would be the very people calling for this man's death. These would be the very people persecuting the apostles then and now. See, let me show y'all something before we continue. Matthew chapter 26. Remember, right? They heard the voice of strangers. Those voices had significance. But nevertheless, when you were talking to me, nigga, you sound like a barbarian. And when you talk about sounding like a barbarian, nigga, you sound like an infidel, a savage. I don't understand you, nigga. You talking stupid. And guess what happened? When you talking the gospel, you sound stupid to them. Matthew chapter 23. That gospel something else, man. I don't care nothing. One thing about you ain't gonna see me arguing with no nigga about no 12 trial for what? Believe what you want. Finna be talking to no nigga about an Esau the white man. Can you eat pork or not? I'm not finna have that conversation. I could care less. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna talk. Can a woman preach? Man, I'm not finna argue. And shoot, y'all had that conversation with yourself, man. If the earth flat, talk to yourself. Talk to another nigga about that. Because I'm not finna talk to you. I don't care. They talk about this gospel and this word of salvation of faith and hope that calls a man's soul to be saved. Let's talk about that. So you don't want to have that conversation. Ain't that sad? That's sad. That should make you want to shed a tear. Matthew chapter 23 and verse 30. Make that 29. I'd make you shed a tear, man. I don't care nothing about none of that stuff. You can't do that, man. You can't compromise what's right to please niggas. To be down. That's suckers that want to be down stuff, man. I don't want to be down, but nobody but Elohim. And if you down with him and Ruach in the truth, then I'm down with you. But if you think I'm finna get down with you just because we share the same bloodline, nigga, you's a fool. You know what I'm saying? That's not enough for me to get down with you, B. Not in regards to this right here. No. You got to be a man of honor. You can't compromise your honor for friends, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. Your Savior didn't do that. Imagine if he would have compromised this. And it's funny because that's what our people always want you to do. That's what Aaron did. Aaron compromised when he made that golden calf and dishonored himself and the people because he could have stood up for that standard and said, absolutely not. I will not. But the people want to be together as one and have a good time. Why not? Don't break up the unity, brother. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I shall not. I'm going to stand for what's right in the face of opposition. You got to realize something, man. Before I read in Matthew 23 and 29, Paul made that statement that men were enemies of the stake of Mashiach. Don't want to suffer the persecution. Don't want to suffer the affliction. Don't want to suffer the tribulation. Didn't want to suffer it. It's one of the reasons that when he on that stake and that thief said, you know, remember me when you enter into your kingdom. He said, you know what, today you with me in paradise, because if you suffer with him, you can reign with him. He was up there suffering right along with him. You suffer with him, you'll reign with him. Ah, see, niggas don't want to do that. See, you don't want to get up there with him, because then you got to feel the pain. But you haven't strived against sin, to shed blood striving against sin, so you ain't got no business fainting in your mind. But praise y'all for the word. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous, and say, if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. Wherefore you be witnesses unto yourselves that you're the children of them which killed the prophets. Fill ye up then the measure of your fathers. Ye serpents, ye generation of vipers, how can you escape the damnation of hell? Wherefore, behold, I send unto you prophets and wise men and scribes, and some of them you shall kill and crucify, and some of them you shall scourge in your synagogues, and persecute them from city to city. That upon you may come all the righteous blood upon the earth, from the blood of righteous Abel unto the blood of Zacharias, the son of Bacharias, whom you slew between the temple and the altar. See, now check this out. Somebody got to do it. But they stoned Stephen for preaching the gospel. So you mean to tell me that if we in the end times, that instead of Israelites turning Samson over to the Philistines, instead of Israelites turning Yahusha over to the Romans, these people just gonna kill us because we Israelites, ain't got no book for none of that. For none of that. Nowhere in the book they just gonna say they gonna kill you because you're an Israelite. That's not how he said it was going on. He didn't say you was going to be hated by all nations because your Israelites' sake. He said for his name's sake. That's what he said. That's what he said. You know what I'm talking about? Take it how you want to. That's what he said. So if you hate it for his name's sake, what are you hated for? You hate it for the gospel. This is what they going to hate you for. This is what they going to kill you for. And you mean to tell me it's only going to be the Gentiles, but Israel the only one can be saved? What they killing you for? Think about that. Really sit back and think logically. Like really lose your brain. Why would the whole world, why would a whole governmental system kill you because you're an Israelite? Why would they do that? Why would they care? Does that match up with what the book say gonna happen? Why in this book the people who were persecuted by Israelites? The people who ain't no Gentile locked Jeremiah up. That wasn't a Gentile locked Micaiah up. Them were Israelites coming to look for Elijah. Them was Israelites that Jezebel had put them prophets 50 by 50 in a cave and slaughtered. Who did that to who? Korah was an Israelite and flipped on Moses. That's who that was. That wasn't an Egyptian. That wasn't a Kenite. That wasn't a Hivite. That wasn't a Jebusite. If this book say a man foe is going to be of his own household, you could bet your bottom dollar that's what it's going to be. If this man say it behooves the Mashiach to suffer for him to enter into his esteem, you best believe that's what it's going to be. If this man say if they persecuted me, they going to persecute you, that's what you better believe. He wasn't talking about no Romans. What they going to persecute him for? What they cared? Pilate didn't care. Herod didn't care. They didn't care nothing about it. It had nothing to do with them. They just didn't want an uproar from these niggas who wanted them dead. They didn't care. He wasn't no issue to them. That's y'all business. That ain't got nothing to do with us. That spot we read about in Acts, when they say, you know, they teaching stuff that's not lawful for us to keep being Romans. Man, them people didn't care. They only cared when they seen the loss of their money because he cast out an unclean spirit. A divination spirit, to be specific. That's when they cared. They didn't care. The people didn't care. They didn't care. They did not care. That didn't affect them because it wasn't for them. Not directly. They could get a piece of the pie, but it wasn't for them. So it wasn't a message that necessarily was going to resonate with them. Come on back to Isaiah 26. I just seen, right, you know, like the man Joe Rogan, you know, he don't believe in the book. A lot of people don't. He was like, you know, it's fair. He was like, that's nonsense. Resurrecting from the dead. And when he was having that conversation, it gave me pause to think. And what I thought about was this. Oh, I can see why dudes don't talk about the resurrection of the dead. Because matter of fact, pause before I read Isaiah 26. 1 Corinthians chapter 2. Because it seems outlandish and foolish to a foolish man. Hey, he talking crazy. People resurrected from the dead and blah, blah, blah. What? That don't even make any sense. I can see why it wouldn't make sense for you. I could see why it wouldn't make sense for you. 1 Corinthians 2 and 12. Now we have received not the Ruach of the world, but the Ruach which is of Elohim, that we might know the things that are freely given to us of Elohim, which things also we speak, not in the words which man wisdom teach, but what the Ruach HaKadosh teach, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. But the natural man receive not the things of the Ruach of Elohim, for they are foolishness unto him. Neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. See, they can't know these things. So, you know, it's funny, you come back to Isaiah 26, because some dudes do overplay this hand. See, you ain't got the Ruach, brother, so you can't understand. So when you say that, an individual doesn't take that seriously. You know what I mean? But that is an accurate statement. Because if you're a carnal man, if you're a natural man, then the things that are of Elohim are going to sound stupid to you. You know, the foolishness of the gospel is salvation to them that believe. It's foolishness to people who don't. You have to accept that and not be bothered by that. Because that's what it's always been. That's what it will always be. It's not for everybody. It is for everyone to hear and have an opportunity at repentance and remission of sins and salvation. But it is not for, there's a reason why Yahushua who said, he that has an ear, let him hear. Understand? Because my sheep hear my voice. And his voice doesn't sound like the voice of a barbarian to you. So it don't sound like foolishness to you. Isaiah 26 and 6. The foot shall tread it down, even the foot of the poor and the steps of the needy. The way of the just is uprightness. Thou most upright, do weigh the path of the just. Yea, in the way of thy judgments, O Yahuwah, have we waited for thee. The desire of our soul is to thy name and to the remembrance of thee. With my soul have I desired thee in the night. Yea, with my ruach within me, I will seek you early. For when your judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness. So this man say, when his judgments, what he deems the mishpat, the things that he deems to be correct, the world will learn what it is to be righteous. Praise Yah for that. And guess what happened? Yahushua said, I'm the light of the world. And when he was in the world learned righteousness. And if you see, pause. Let's take ourselves to John chapter 6, verse 26. John chapter 6, verse 26. How is it any light in the world niggas ain't preaching the gospel? You think you doing something because you told somebody don't eat no pork chops? You thought you did something. Keep the Shabbat, bro. You got to keep these laws, man. Keep these laws. It's not the word of faith for which we preach. The word is not in heaven, that you got to go up to heaven and bring it down for you to hear it. It's not under the earth, that somebody got to go up under the earth and bring it to you so that you can hear it. It ain't in the seas where you got to go under the waters and pull it up out of there so you can hear it. It's near to you and in your mouth and in your heart that you might do it. And this is the word of faith of which we preach. And this ain't what's being preached. So in understanding, we can't be men. In actuality and reality, we would have to be children, masquerading as men. That's why we do the things that we do, because that's what I told y'all last week. There's no such thing, as toxic masculinity. It does not exist. It is a construct in the minds of feeble individuals, pandering to whatever base that they're pandering to. What people call toxic masculinity is in actuality absence of masculinity through the means of overcompensation to cover up insecurities for the lack of masculinity. That's it. So when we turn around and we look at it and we're masquerading as mature spiritual men, and in reality, we're small little babies and we're overcompensating to cover up the fact that in reality, we have the mind of a child. That we lack masculinity, so we're overcompensating. That's why individuals get so overly emotional when people don't agree with them, when people won't hear the word. That's what happens. Because Mashiach taught his apostles, and they don't want to hear, man. He said, dust your feet off on them and go on about your business. You understand? See, let's pull that. Let me read it, John 6, and then we pull it. See, that's the manly thing. That's what a man does. See, a man ain't finna sit here and argue with no one. I'm not finna argue with you, nigga. You ain't gotta believe it. You know how offended people get when you don't want to argue with them. You know how offended people get when you are so secure and so confident in what it is that you stand for, that you are not finna sit back and belittle yourself by arguing with them. People can't believe it. Can't understand it. John 6 and 26. Yahushua answered them and said, truly, truly, I say unto you, you seek me not because you saw the miracles, but because you did eat of the loaves and were filled. Labor not for the meat which perish, but for the meat which endure unto everlasting life, which the Son of Man shall give unto you. For him have Elohim Abba sealed. Then said they unto him, what shall we do that we might work the works of Elohim? Yahushua answered and said unto them, this is the work of Elohim, that you believe on him whom he have sent. Believe. Have faith and you'll be saved. That don't mean you don't obey. See, niggas so dumb. See, I'm going to tell you why niggas is dumb. And I mean exactly what I say. Because you so worried about destroying Christianity, which is why you even concerned with it. If your dope good, what you care about somebody selling bad dope? Your good product should stand on itself. You shouldn't even be worried about them. And if they like to keep smoking bad dope, you trying to make them smoke good dope ain't going to make them smoke it. Ain't going to make them do it. If that's what they own, that's what they own. You can't change it. You so worried about what these camps doing. Stop worrying about what them people doing, because guess what? They ain't worried about what you doing. They ain't worried about it. They confident in what they selling. So if you focus more on what you selling, maybe people will purchase what you selling. But you focus on what they selling. That's a bad business approach. That's a bad business approach. You can't sell good product by belittling the competition. Show yourself to be greater than the competition. Yahushua didn't have to walk around belittling the Pharisees. He didn't have to do that. I already know my word good because I know where I come from and I know where I'm going. So I'm not concerned with them niggas. I check them niggas when they need to be checked to their face. But I'm not concerned with what them niggas doing. Because I know what I got. And I know who I got it from. And I know who I work for. So all I'm going to do is just put mine on the table. They were coming to him trying to belittle his work. Because they knew their work was weak in comparison. And that's all you got to do. You don't got to go around doing that. You ain't got to go around doing that. But we so concerned about Christian. See, that sounds like Christian. That sounds like the book, idiot. You boasted in the law. You in the wrong covenant, son. Because you're not boasting in Elohim. You in the wrong place, son. You seeking justification from a covenant that couldn't justify you. Grievous error. But hey, it's what it is, man. Come over here to Matthew 10, what I was telling you about, man. That one thing about it, man. I ain't finna afford nobody, but you don't want to believe it? It's all good, baby. It is all good. It is all good. You know what I mean? Matthew 10 and 11. That's when you know your worth. And you know who you are. You don't beg nobody. Man, who will know who he is? He ain't begging nobody. Yahushua knows who he is. He ain't begging nobody. And we supposed to be his servants and we out here begging niggas. Come on, man. That's unattractive. Go ask a woman right now if she gonna rock with you if you beg. I guarantee you she gonna tell you she done lost attraction in you. I guarantee you that. You doing all that begging. Yeah, that junk all sound good. You know, Keith Sweat do all that begging. Try it in real life if you want to. That woman ain't gonna answer your calls. She ain't gonna fool with you. And we begging people to come to y'all. That make y'all look weak. That man ain't weak. Stop making the man look weak to appease your own ego, to cover up your insecurities, to convince yourself that it's real. Don't do that. Don't do that. He's saying, to whatsoever city or town you shall enter, inquire who in it is worthy, and there abide till you leave. So he's telling them, when you go to a city and preach the word, find out who the most worthy man in that city and go dwell with them. That's what we were talking about, like with Elisha. Go stay at their house. He's saying, when you come into the house, salute it. And if the house be worthy, let your shalom come upon it. But if it's not worthy, let your shalom return. And whosoever shall not receive you nor your words, when you depart out of that city, shake off the dust of your feet. Don't beg them. Let them alone. If they don't want to hear it, like, you know why an individual, see, that goes back to no need of validation. When you don't need validation, then you don't feel the need to beg and to plead and to force and to bombard someone into receiving what you're saying. See, in understanding, be a man. See, he was giving them understanding. Yeah, you standing in the streets crying out. He's saying those words are plain to them that understand. But if they can't understand your voice because you sound like a barbarian to them, dust off your feet and go about your business. What you arguing with them for? That's weak. That's not masculine. You doing that because you're not masculine. So you're overcompensating to cover that up because you feel like if you do that, they'll see that you're a godly man, how much I love you and how much I'm trying to plague you and plead with you to do that. You're not doing that for them. You're doing that for yourself. That wasn't for them. That's for you because you don't believe it. So you need their validation. See, that's not masculinity. That's the absence of it. That's the problem we got to say. No such thing as toxic masculinity. It's an absence of masculinity, which leads to overcompensation. Because now you're portraying what individuals feel like a man should behave like, and a man don't behave like that. You can have overcompensation in the other area. You can overcompensate because you're trying too hard. You can overcompensate because of lack of experience. In some instances, overcompensation does not denote a lack of masculinity. Because every last one of us have probably been in a situation where you were inexperienced and you overdid it, trying to make up for your lack of experience. And whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? But when we talking about people saying, I'm a man, and you see them consistently overcompensating, he's not a man. He's trying to convince you and himself. You have to be able to recognize that. That boy lacking somewhere. The same token, when you see certain women go overboard in femininity, she don't know how to be a feminine woman, so she's overcompensating. And that usually comes from people pleasing. You know what I'm saying? Well, bitch is basically the same thing, letting people walk all over you. You know what I'm saying? Because you're being overly submissive. So you don't even know how to balance that out to, this is how a woman's supposed to conduct herself. Because you don't know, so you overcompensate. Nevertheless, back to Matthew 26. We did working towards, son. I ain't going to do it till Friday. Because I need a lot of time for it, y'all willing. I can't get it in tonight, but I can set that stage, though. I can set that stage. We in verse 10. He said, let favor be showed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness? In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly? And will not behold the majesty of Yahuwah? Guess what? Let favor be showed to the wicked, and he still ain't going to learn what's Hebrews 10 and 25. Sit back and think about that, right? I promise it's going to make sense on Friday. Y'all will, and I promise it will. In its complete totality. 10 and 26. He said, yet favor, let grace, let mercy and compassion be shown to the wicked, and this nigga still won't listen. That's ugly, man. You hear me? That's ugly. That's ugly. See, because in understanding, we need to be men. That's what we're working towards in 1 Corinthians. Before we'll get to that last verse. And understanding, you need to be a man. So if you have that insight, remember, the son of Elohim is coming, giving us an understanding that we may know him that is true, that we are in him that is true. Even your son, Yahushua HaMashiach. This is the true Elohim and eternal life. And his words are plain to him that understand. And remember, he said, he that is of Elohim hears Elohim's word. He said, you hear them not, therefore, because you are not of Elohim. He said, my sheep hear my voice, and they follow me, and I know them. And the voice of strangers they don't listen to, because my voice doesn't sound like a barbarian to them. I'm going to tell y'all something, right? This is real talk. 09, don't remember the month. That Proverbs 8, that was the first time I heard his voice. Meaning, when I read that, I said, boy, that's the Messiah. And not just, oh, that's the Messiah, like I heard it, I understood it, and I knew where I could go to validate it at that particular juncture, at that time. I remember I said, yeah, boy, when I see my nigga, man, boy, I'm going to tell him, boy. That was the first time. That chapter was the first time that he stood out to me. First time. See, because I'm going to tell y'all something, man. You know, every brew, y'all know every brew know all the spots, everybody. Oh, Daniel 7, who's that? You know, he's got the white hair. He's coming on the cloud. Tell me, who's that, Mr. Non-Messianic? You stupid idiot. He already ready for that. What about Psalm 21 and Psalm 20? They already ready for that. Do you really know this man? How can you call on someone whom you have never heard of? How can you believe on someone you've never heard of? How can you say you're a man and have understanding as a man of a man whom you have never heard of? It's impossible. And that's why we behave in the fashion that we behave. That's why we see so much overcompensation. That's why we see so much overcompensation, because it's a lack of godly masculinity. We lack it. So because we lack it, what happens? Some of the attributes that we went over in the last couple of weeks, right? Being courageous, being protective, having a purpose. You know what I'm saying? Being non-reactive and being disciplined and having no need of validation. That's godly masculinity. That's masculinity from heaven, from Shamahim, from the direct source. From the direct source. So think about that. Because if we want to be men, one of the hallmarks of the fruits of the Ruach is temperance. It's self-control. Self-control. And if we say that we men, we're supposed to be able to control ourselves, control our mouths, control our actions. Most definitely you should be able to control your penis. Because if you can't control, word or no word, well, you can't even tell me you a man and you can't control your penis. One thing for certain, and two things for sure. I remember I heard Jay spit that on Can I Live, and I felt them too. You know what I'm saying? I got my head. Both of them where they supposed to be. Because one thing's about it, boy, women can get you sidetracked. And get you clapped from closed feet. That's not to say that all that means when you think with your penis, that means 99.9% of the time you're going to pick the wrong type of woman, because you're going to pick the woman that's going to make your penis feel good, because you're not using your mind. So then you're going to overlook certain things, and that's how she ends up getting you sidetracked and can get you killed. And the book tells you about that in Proverbs chapter 7. Read it for yourself. It tells you about that type of stuff. You can't be a fool. You can't be carnal and be simple and claiming you a man. Can't lack self-control and claiming you a man of the Lord. Don't work that way. Hebrews 10:26. For if we sin willfully after we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remain no more sacrifice for sins, but a certain fearful looking for of judgment and fiery indignation, which shall devour the adversaries. He that despised Moses' Torah died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses. Of how much sore punishment suppose ye shall be thought worthy, or who are trodden under the foot of the son of Elohim, and counted the blood of the covenant, whereof he was sanctified an unkadash thing, and have done despite unto the ruach of grace. For we know him that hath said, vengeance belong unto me, I will recompense, saith Yahuwah, and again Yahuwah shall judge his people. Now sit back and think about that. Favor gonna be shown to the wicked, and yet he still won't learn righteousness. He still won't learn it. He will not behold the majesty of Yahuwah. He just utterly refuses to see the face of the Son of the living Elohim. You know, Job made a statement. He said, I heard of you with the ear, but now my eyes see. Because faith come by hearing, and hearing come by the word. And he saying, I behold great things out of your Torah. Because when a Mashiach can preach, you behold the majesty of Yahuwah. Huh? That's what he told you in the Epistle of Hebrews, the majesty. It's the same token when he was up there on the mount and he was transfixed and his face went to shining, because wisdom calls a man's face to shine. They beheld the majesty. Why you think they was able to see that? Because they learned righteousness. See, we think sweeping down that righteousness is the law, and you still not beholding the majesty. My little homie said something real, right? And I felt him on that. He said these Christians hold stronger to their false belief in the Messiah than we claim to the belief that we hold in the true one. And it's sad. And guess what? Both ain't getting no reward from the man. That's the saddest part of the whole play. Ain't nobody getting a reward out either side. Don't let that be you. Hold fast. But hold on. Let's get to verse 11 though. Yahuwah, when thy hand is lifted up, they will not see. But they shall see and be ashamed. You better know it. For their envy at the people, yea, the fire of thy enemies shall devour them. Yahuwah, thou wilt ordain shalom for us, for thou also hast wrought all our works in us. Yahuwah Elohim, other lords besides thee have had dominion over us, but by thee only will we make mention of thy name. So other people done had rule. It's other voices. It's strangers out here talking. Only make mention of one name because I only hear one voice. That's the only voice I hear. Isaiah chapter 6, and then Matthew 13, and then back to 1 Corinthians 14. So I can get ready to slide y'all on up out of here. It's just a setup, y'all. It's a setup for a verse y'all hear every single solitary week, 3 times a week. So with that being said, you know clearly that got to be out of John chapter 5. So that's what we leading up to. Something that's in John chapter 5. Something that hit my mind last week, to be specific. Last Shabbat, to be exact. Isaiah chapter 6, right? Six and 4. I have to take this track for us to be able to understand and to be men, to go back again in a different fashion and rehash what we talked about when we dealt with the gospel and what the gospel is and what the gospel ain't. And if you're dealing with understanding to be a man, it's going to allow us to pull out the attributes of an Aleph man still and reiterate what the gospel is, and what ought to be preached, and what ought to be spoke, and what ought to be encapsulated and internalized in order for you in malice to be a child, but in understanding to be a man. And one of the things, and some of the things that we looked at, dusting your feet off, that's no need of validation of self-control or discipline, and being non-reactive. And to look at that. You didn't see Mashiach arguing with nobody. Not about no word. We can have a debate, and we talking about a debate meaning the differing of perspective. You see it that way? Well, what about this here then? Paul disputed in the temple many a days about the text, but the difference is this is a difference. Usually when you're debating, you're not debating about what's right or wrong. You're debating to see who has the most persuasive argument to persuade the audience of who won. And it's not about what is right. When niggas argue, they're trying to be right. See, you're supposed to be speaking what is right, irregardless of who is right. See, when you want to ride with somebody, just because that's your man, you a sucker if you do that over what is right. You could be my nigga for 40 years. But if that's what's right, I got to go with what's right. I can't go with you because you my nigga. That's sucker stuff. And you'll kill a man of God. You'll kill the servants of God because you got respect a person. You'll choose a man over Yah. That's evidentiary behavior. That's going to show that. Because you didn't go with what was right. See, Pilate stood in front of them people. He said, man, what this man done did, man? This man ain't did nothing. He was trying, I'm trying to go with what's right. You understand? You just sit back and look at that. The scribes didn't care about going with what was right. They were trying to be right. See, that's a major difference. That's why they hated Mashiach, because he stood for what was right. They ain't like that. He wasn't trying to be. If Mashiach was in these days and times, nigga be like, boy, that nigga think he know everything. That nigga always want to be right. That's how y'all will talk about it. That's how y'all will talk about it. It's real talk. Like, shoot, nigga. You got to think about that, man. You got to think about that. If you of Yah, you got to go with what's right, not who's right. What's right. And the word of Yahuwah is right. Yahuwah is just and righteous altogether. Ain't not nan type of unrighteousness in his works. So you got to go with him. Bump your homeboy, bump your op, bump your wife, bump your kids. You got to go with what's right. And that's what you see niggas be out here doing. They trying to be right. Go with what's right. You can't never lose. That's word or no word. Keep your integrity. Keep your honor. But that junk, honor and integrity is above being right. I'm talking about honor and integrity is above being right. Honor and integrity is above appearing to be something. Keep your honor and integrity. You wonder why a lot of these women be like, man, these niggas ain't because you ain't got no honor and integrity. Ain't no real woman want no dishonorable man who lacks integrity. Who wants that? Because she gonna look at you, gonna teach my son to be like that. I don't want this nigga teaching my children. That's her natural instinct of how she gonna think. This is what this nigga gonna teach my children. I can't breed with this nigga. This nigga's gonna teach my children idiocy. I can't do it. I can't do it. That ain't no different than if a man see a woman who lack integrity and she lack honor. This not gonna be a woman he gonna want to have children with. If you talking about the base level of human reaction, you know what I'm saying about breeding, self-preservation, or preserving the population. They don't want to breed with that. Why would you want to breed with that? But you know what? We don't think like that because we carnal. All you feel like is, shoot, I like her and I'm horny. And guess what? That's an absence of masculinity and femininity because full-grown men and women don't behave nor think in that fashion. If you think with your penis, you can't tell me you know man. How? Type of man thinks with his loins. Isaiah chapter 6 and verse 4, man. As the post of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke. Then said I, woe is me, for I am undone, but I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips, for my eyes have seen the King, Yahuwah of hosts. Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from off the altar, and he laid it upon my mouth and said, lo, this has touched your lips. Thy iniquity is taken away. Your sin is purged. I also heard a voice of Yahuwah, whom said, whom shall I send? Who will go for us? Then said I, it's locked. Hold on, y'all. Said, and then I heard a voice of Yahuwah saying, whom shall I send and who will go for us? Then said I, here am I, send me. And he said, go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see you indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, and they shall see with their eyes, and they shall hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert and be healed. He said, lest they should say. Now let's come over here to Matthew 13 so we can close this out for now. He said he'd make these people, so you got eyes you can't see, you got ears you can't hear, you got a heart you can't understand. And if you can't understand, then you can't be a man. Because in understanding, you need to be a man. In understanding, you need to be a man. The book tell you wisdom is the principal thing, but in all that getting, get understanding. Because when that is going to lead you to conduct yourself, to have the insight into Elohim, to be a man. 13 and 11. Book of Matthew. 13 and 11. 13 and 11. And he answered and said unto them, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of Shamahim, but to them it is not given. For whosoever to him shall be given, shall he have more abundance, and whosoever have not from him shall be taken away even that he have. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which say, by hearing ye shall hear and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see and shall not perceive. For this people heart is wax gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. But Baruch to your eyes, for they see, and your ears for they hear. For truly I say unto you that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see the things which you see and had not seen them, and to hear the things which you hear and have not heard them. And he talking about the gospel. He's saying that, you got to look at it, right? Them people didn't hear the gospel then, and these people ain't hearing the gospel now. And guess what he told them? He said, Hamashiach said that, well, did he speak of this people? And that same prophecy being fulfilled again. 1 Corinthians 14. That's the sad part. Isaiah chapter 6 is still being fulfilled to this day. Because we hearing and we can't hear. We seeing and we don't see, lest we would understand with our hearts and be converted and be healed and be born again. That's just funny, because when you make certain statements, dude's ready to, oh, he's a Christian. No, you're just an idiot. You're just an idiot. A spiritual idiot. A retard of the highest order. Verse 12, even so, you formuch as you are zealous of spiritual gifts, seek that you may excel to the edifying of the body. Wherefore let him that speak in an unknown tongue pray that he may interpret. And you can see that in the book of Genesis, about the 42nd chapter. When you see that about having an interpreter, about speaking in tongues, that happened with Joseph. That's where that come from. That's in the law. That's why he made that statement. Wherefore let him that speak in an unknown tongue pray that he may interpret. For if I pray in an unknown tongue, my ruach pray, but my understanding is unfruitful. You see that? See, when you speaking to people who cannot hear the gospel, again, we're just using this in another aspect and term. The understanding that's being given because you speaking to them by the ruach ain't gonna gain no fruit because they don't know what's going on. He said, what is it then? Will I pray with the ruach or will I pray with understanding also? And I will sing with the ruach, and I will sing with understanding also. Else when thou shalt baruch the ruach, how shall he that occupy the room of the unlearned say amen at the giving of thanks, seeing he understand not what thou say? For thou truly give thanks well, but the other is not edified. I thank my Elohim, I speak with tongues more than you all. Yet in the house I'd rather speak 5 words with my understanding, that by my voice I might teach others also, than 10,000 words in an unknown tongue. Brethren, be not children in understanding, how about in malice be children, but in understanding be men. So when he's telling you this here, when you look at the context of what he's saying, he said, how is it benefiting anyone that if I say something and you don't understand what I'm talking about? So I would rather that you understand what I'm talking about. So that's why he told you in understanding, be a man. So the gospel has to be brought forth to where people can understand it. And truth be told, the gospel is very simple to understand. It is the death and burial and resurrection of Yahushua HaMashiach, the only begotten Son of the living Elohim. And it's manifested and testified throughout the scriptures that this man would suffer and raise from the dead. And the reason why we're taking this direction of what we go on when we looked at being courageous in the word for bold was batak. And it means to be secure or to trust. And when you have that courage or that securing or trust, that's where the understanding comes in and allows you to be a man, to be able to instruct others in the individual who will cause individual soul to be saved. And again, that will lead into what we got to talk about, Yah willing, on Shabbat. So hallelujah for Yahushua and the word. Appreciate everybody's time. Bless everybody out of the house of Yah, name of Yahushua, and everybody stand firm, strong, and be batak and secure in said gospel. And just consider the things that we looked at as we proceed further to delving in what is masculinity from Elohim's perspective, and only Elohim's perspective, not our personal perspectives, but the perspective of how the book bears witness to it. And then let us move to stand and live in that masculinity and not moving towards the aspects of overcompensation for insecurities or our own lack of self-worth that we feel like we need to do that. Let's make that our objective and mission to no longer do those things. So everybody stay strong in the faith of Yahushua. Continue to endure to the end, being steadfast in the faith of which you profess, knowing that he is faithful who have promised.